Hello everyone, welcome once again to Spicy Talk with Onwadia. It's another beautiful week again and I know you are having an amazing time. Thank you so much for joining me today on Spicy Talk with Onwadia. For you, my returning subscriber, it's a delight to always have you. You guys know I'm always happy to see you on this space. And if you're just coming across Spicy Talk for the first time, oh my God, I just want to specially say a welcome to you. It's a pleasure to have you join the family. Do well to subscribe after this video. Do well to subscribe if you haven't done so. Subscribe and like. Then share this video with your loved ones and your friends. Well, today something happened that got me interested in this topic. It is the way a lot of women or some women talk to men. I want to really address this, but maybe I'll be diving into it every now and then. It is what you shouldn't do or say to a man. What you shouldn't do or say to a man as a godly woman, as a decent woman. There are things you shouldn't say to your husband, especially because he is your crown, he is your head, he is your Lord. He should be respected. Now, when you say these words to him, now you may ask for forgiveness, but you know what happens? You have sown a seed in his heart. He may forgive you, quite all right, but you see, it's difficult to forget those words. They will always ring in his mind every now and then. This is why they say words once spoken can never be taken back. So we have to be careful with our words. We have to be careful with the things we say. We have to, especially in the heat of argument or when we are angry. You know, women naturally, we have a way of expressing ourselves. We express ourselves with emotions and anger and all that. So we are quick to, say the things we do not mean from our heart. We just say those things. We don't mean those things, but we say them. But you see, the person you said this word to will never forget easily, even when you ask for forgiveness. So today I want to bring out some of those words that you should never say, and some of the things you should quit doing as women, because it's not just saying, but there are some actions, some little things we do that puts men off. Either be it your husband, number one, or your partner, like if you're dating. So there are words you should never say, because when you say these words, you're putting out the wrong signal out there. You're sending the wrong message. So let us get into it. The first thing you should never say to a man is, all men are the same. You are a jack. All men are dogs. You see, women are quick to use this word, all men are jacks. All men are dogs. No matter what, in the heat of argument, avoid using all. You are generalizing. If your husband or your partner cheats on you, address it, but don't say all men are, because you have never dated all men. You are not married to all men. You are married to one man. So if you are having issues or you're suspecting your partner, trash the issue. Don't say all men are. When you use these words for your man all the time, it makes him begin to look, oh, maybe you must have tried a whole lot of men, and you don't want to send that negative signal. Don't say all men are dogs. That word is bad. Don't say all men are cheats. Don't say all men. Address the issue at hand. Address it and avoid generalizing. When you use this word, you are confirming, like it's called confirmation. You are confirming, and you'll be looking out for those things all the time. That's what you do. Unconsciously, you begin to look out for all those things that make you say he's a jack, he's terrible, he's a cheat, he's a dog. You begin to always look out for, and if you are dating, avoid using this word, because the moment you use all men are dogs for a boyfriend or a lover, or a man you intend to get married to, you are sending off a wrong signal that you have tried more than 20 men, and you don't want to paint yourself in that light. You don't want to paint yourself in that light. You don't want to sound as if you are cheap and loose. So don't say all men are. If you have issues with your man, address that issue. Don't use all men are before your man. That's really not a good thing to do. Number two is, my ex-boyfriend or my ex will never do this. God. How how do you even come up with that word? Why bring your ex into the picture? My ex will never say this to me. My ex will never do this to me. You keep bringing your ex into the picture, and you know what? Your present man will say, well, someday he's going to ask you to go be with your ex. I mean, if he's that good, if your ex is that good, you should have been with him, not with your present man, right? So don't always avoid bringing your man, your ex, into your relationship or your marriage. I mean, it's even more disrespectful if you're a married woman to ever use this word, my ex. Avoid bringing your ex in your conversation, no matter what. Ex is called ex. No matter what, don't you ever tell your husband that your ex will never do this, or your boyfriend that your ex will never say such a thing to you, or XYZ to you. No matter what, you should address the issue. Tell your man, you shouldn't say this to me. It's not nice for you to say this to me as your woman, as your wife. Don't use this word for me. Don't do this to me. But don't, I repeat, bring your ex into your conversation, your argument, or whatever it is. You are no longer with your ex. Let him remain in the past. Some women do this, and you know what? Your man may never tell you this. He may never tell you that, look, I am angry because you mentioned your ex. He's piling those things up. And one day, he will get fed up and ask you to go be with your ex. So if you're used to saying this word, my ex, please stop it. It's not nice. You are ruining your relationship, your marriage gradually. You're ruining that relationship with your partner. You are ruining it. So avoid using my ex will never say this to me, or my ex will never, do this to me. You are planting a wrong seed in his heart. Well, number 3, avoid doing this. We women do this a lot. I am guilty of this too. Once in a while, I am guilty as charged. Okay, but you see, I'm learning to stop it, or rather, I have learned to stop it, because I notice it. It's not a good thing at all. Asking your man if you are fat. Am I fat? Am I fat? Look, you should be comfortable in your own skin. It's called confidence, self-confidence. You can be on the big side and look so sexy. You can be on the big side and you carry yourself with so much dignity. You can be on the big side. The way you carry yourself makes you look like you are just 16. So it's all about your courage, your self-esteem. When you keep asking your man, am I fat? Whenever you dress up, you leave yourself, am I fat? No, you are not fat. You are just big, bold, and beautiful. Carry yourself that way. You're on the big side. When you walk with so much elegance, with confidence, with high self-esteem. You're oozing self-esteem. You're oozing sexiness. If you're on the small side, don't ask, am I too skinny? You carry yourself like a bone. No, you are just petty. Pinchomic. You are sweet. You can be carried. You see, being on the big side or on the small side doesn't define who you are. It's all about your self-confidence. So each time you ask your man, am I fat or skinny? You're sending the wrong message of low self-esteem. What do you want him to tell you? Okay, what do you expect your man to say when you ask him, am I fat or do I look skinny? What if he says, yes, you're fat? Then what? You begin to cry. Oh, he said I'm fat. Oh, I no longer look beautiful in your sight because I'm fat. Then you stop eating. I didn't say go ahead and start eating everything, but you see, have that self. If you feel you're on the big side and you need to lose weight, go ahead and do that. He will applaud you. He'll be so proud of you. If you feel you are too big, you can no longer carry yourself in the other room. You can no longer, respond. You can no longer give it the way you used to. You know within you that, okay, I have put so much weight that I can no longer move my body easily. Go ahead and, begin to diet. Go ahead and exercise. But stop asking your man for that confirmation, because men are just they're careful with what they say to women, because we can store up things here. We can remind them of the things they said 100 years ago. We bottle it up, we store it in there, and then we begin to losing it every now and then. So they are careful when they're talking to us. So when you ask your man, am I fat? He's probably just gonna say, no, you are okay. But you see, he might be deceiving you. If he said no, you are okay, whereas you know you are fat, but you just need him to tell you that, you'll be deceiving yourself. You wouldn't want to lose weight. And then again, you're putting him on a tight place, on a tight corner. Because if he tells you the truth, you're going to feel bad. It will hurt you. When he lies to you, you will not do the right thing or the needful. So look at yourself in the mirror. What do you see? Who do you see? Do you see an elegant woman? Do you see a beautiful woman? A bold and beautiful woman? Do you see a petite, a pinchomic, a sexy woman? What do you see in the mirror? Let that be the judge. Stop asking your man, am I fat? Am I fat? Am I skinny? No. Do the needful. If you're too skinny and you no longer feel comfortable or being too skinny, go ahead and eat some more. Look for foods you can eat that will make you pull a little weight, if that is what you want. And if you're too chubby, please go on and exercise or diet and feel so confident about yourself. The next thing you should avoid saying to a man, especially a guy you're still dating, if you are not married to him, is in the course of conversation, or you're just getting to know each other, and then you come up to say, guys always dump me. Guys always dump me. Sounds awkward. Even if you are used to, you have been feeling guys have been dumping you in the course of relationship, don't ever mention it to a man. Don't ever mention it to a guy. You don't want to sound like a rejected sacrifice. You don't want to sound like you're desperate. Guys always dump me should never come out of your mouth, no matter what, in a conversation. Because you're going to make the guy feel like, oh, okay, if you are used to being dumped, well, I can as well dump you. Why would I want to go to a refuse? Why would I want to accept something, a rejected sacrifice? Why would I want to accept something that has been rejected over and over again? You are your number one you are your number one promoter. You are your number one fan. You are your number one cheerleader. Don't ever let a guy know that you have been rejected before, you have been dumped, you have been in and out of several relationships. Because you will end up sending the wrong message. You might be telling him the truth, but you see, it's not the kind of truth you want to tell a man. Sell yourself high. Don't sell yourself cheap. Don't sell yourself cheap. No matter how many relationships you have been into, don't let a guy know that you have dated XYZ this year alone. I've been in and out of relationship. You guys are not just serious. I don't know what you want. Maybe you're one of those guys. Please, if you know you are ready, let me know. If you're not ready, please let me know, because I'm tired of getting in and out of relationship. Avoid painting the wrong picture. It makes you look loose and cheap. Be your number one fan. In the course of conversation, avoid it as much as. Don't mention how many relationships you have been into, how many guys you have dated this year alone, how many guys you have dated and it didn't work out, or because you want him to be the one. No matter what, avoid painting this picture about yourself. Like I said before, don't sound like a rejected sacrifice. Even if you have dated several guys before him, The way you carry yourself will let him know, oh, this is a precious stone. This is some woman worth dating. This woman is worth keeping, because he doesn't know about your past relationships. And I tell women, look, avoid bringing, when you're in a new relationship, avoid bringing things about your past, your ex, into the picture. It's not good. No matter how honest you want to be. See, we all make mistakes, okay? But you don't want to come out and wash your dirty linen on the streets. No, you don't want to do that. So carry yourself with confidence. Be proud of who you are. It doesn't matter if you've dated XYZ before and it didn't work out. This is a new guy, okay? So sell yourself high. Don't sell yourself cheap. Then for the singles again, for those still dating, please avoid using this phrase, what are we? What are we? You are in a relationship, every now and then you're popping the question, what are we? What are we? What are we doing? You see, it sounds desperate. There are ways you can make a guy, you can make a guy say what you are doing or his intention towards you. But don't ask him, are we an item? What are we doing? What are we? Spell it out. No. Rather, have a meaningful conversation on where you want this relationship to be. Spell it out, like where do you want this relationship to go? Especially when you're just starting, you don't sound desperate. Give it time. Give it a few weeks, or if a couple of months, if you want to study the guy. Then after a while, if you see, when you're in a relationship, you see the direction it's heading. If it's not heading towards the direction you want, then you can just have that conversation with the guy if you don't want to waste your time just dating. Expect the relationship to go further, beyond just dating. Like you like this guy for marriage. Then there are ways you can present this thing on the table. There are ways you can have this conversation. If you notice it's not moving towards the direction you want, but you see, not on the first date, not on the second date, because you're going to sound desperate. Then something else, what's on your mind? What are you thinking? Every now and then you ask, just like Facebook will ask you, what's on your mind? Have you become a mind reader? I'm saying these things to singles especially. When you always ask a guy, what's on your mind? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? What's on your mind? What do you want him to tell you? Like, okay, I feel like bashing your head on the wall, or I feel like going down with you. What a man thinks is in his heart. It's just like him asking, what's on your mind all the time? What's on your mind? Like, it makes a man feel uncomfortable, because it's like you want to know everything, every of his thought. Men think about so many things. So what do you want him to tell you? What's on your mind? Sweetheart, what's on your mind? What are you thinking? Especially when you see him quiet. What's on your mind? What are you thinking? Are you thinking about, do you want to be the only person on his thoughts all the time? Please avoid this. What are you thinking? What's on your mind? Or what are we? It sounds desperate. Another thing you should avoid saying is, why don't you do this? Why don't you always do this? Rather than confront him with, why don't you always do this, when he isn't doing what you want, why don't you come up with, I'll be happy, I'll be glad if you do this. I'll rather you do this. Don't say, why don't you always do this? Sometimes we don't know it all. He might do something and not do it the same way you want. Say something and not say it probably the right way. But don't always say, why don't you ever do this? Why don't you ever take out the trash? Why don't you ever help out in the kitchen? Why don't you ever help me out? Why don't you ever make the bed? Why don't you ever throw your clothes in the basket? Why don't you ever? Why don't you? Rather say, I'll love it if you do this. I'll love it if you help me out in the kitchen. I'll love it if you help me with the kids. I'll love it if you come out with me. I'll love it if you keep my company. I'll love it if you try making this bed every now and then. I'll love it if you throw your clothes directly into the basket rather than leaving them littered all over. It's a way of communicating with your man. I'd love it. Say what you want him to do. Not, why don't you? it pisses a lot of guys off. Let me tell you, it pisses them off. Why don't you do this? He will be happier if you say, I would love it. Try to communicate this way. He will feel happy and proud of the way you communicate with him. That's a more respectful way of talking to a man. A more respectful way, because when you confront him, why don't you ever do it, like, it pisses him off and he wouldn't want to do it. Guess what? He will not want to do that because you're trying to command him. He wants to be commanded. No man wants to be controlled. So when you use this word, why don't you, well, he wouldn't even do it, or you go ahead and do it, and then you know what happens? You both begin to argue and fight. But when you say, I would love it, oh, he'll come around you, oh, sweetheart, okay, sorry, I'll do it. You see the difference? He'll come over and say, oh, sorry, I did this way. Oh, sorry, it escaped my mind. I'll do it. Rather than why don't you do this? He will rather say, well, I can do it. Go ahead and do it. One is, we need to talk. Like, honey, we need to talk. When you use this phrase, you're setting a man, or you're setting him at edge. You're making him feel uncomfortable. You make him be on the defensive side. He begins to think in his mind, God, what have I done again? Am I in trouble again with her? What have I done? What have I said? And then he begins to strategize, begin to think of how he can be on the defensive. You already set him at edge. You already set him on the defensive side. So rather than say, we need to talk, go ahead and say what you want to say. Honey, this morning, honey, last night, honey, now, honey, this, sweetheart, this. Don't just say, we need to talk, and then you leave him hanging. We need to talk, okay, and then he'll be like, okay, I'm coming 1 minute. That time he said, I'm coming 1 minute, he's thinking in his head already. A lot of things already going on in his mind. Okay, how do I go about it? Was it about last night? Oh, was it a call I picked? Or was it about this? Or, he begins to think about a million things immediately. And then he becomes on the defense. So when you speak, he defends himself immediately. You're never going to have a meaningful conversation when you start with this, we need to talk. Especially when your voice, when your tone is stern. When your tone is like, okay, you are in trouble. Go ahead and say, sweetheart, yeah, okay, I want us to discuss about this. I want us to have a conversation about this. I don't know if you understand. Like, call him, I want us to talk about this. Go straight. If you are not ready for that talk at that time, then don't raise it. Don't say, we need to talk later, or we need to talk about something later, and then you leave him hanging. When he goes out, he's going to think about a million things, and then when he comes back, he'll be on the defensive. So then finally, this for the last. Don't you ever compare your man with another man. Don't you ever, I left this for the last. Don't ever compare your man with any other man, with his friend. Like, your friend is good. Oh, your friend is handsome. Oh, your friend is cool. Oh, I love your friend's beard. Oh, your friend is this. Don't ever make comparison between your man and any other man, be it your brother or whoever. Don't ever make comparison. This guy would have done this. Oh, your friend. Don't ever. It makes your man feel uncomfortable. You're telling him he's not the best for you. You're sending this message to his heart that he is not good enough for you. When you compare your man with another man, no matter what, if you feel you need to change your man, or there are things you need to change about your man, you do the change gradually. You do it yourself. Go ahead and groom him the way you want. If you feel he's not okay that way, you can suggest a new haircut for him. You can suggest a new, style for him. You can suggest a new style of wardrobe for him. But avoid comparing him with XYZ. Oh, man, I would love it if you're like this man. I would love it. Man, he looks good. He smells good. That comparison shouldn't even come up. You know, sometimes women are careless, like we're careless with some of, some of the things we do. But you see, when you do these things, it sits here. He won't forget easily. Whenever he sees that person you're comparing him with, a negative thought comes into his mind. Are they doing something? Is there more to it? Comparing your man with any other man is wrong. Please avoid doing this. Avoid doing this. Avoid it as much as you can. There's no room for comparison. If it's not good for you, you move on. If it's your husband, try as much as you can to suggest rather than, compare. Suggest. If you want this style, if you want this about him, if there's something you like in another man that you're not seeing in your man, suggest it. Go ahead and suggest it. He won't bite. Suggest it. And then see how it goes. You can contribute. You can do things for him so that he looks, or maybe yeah, I know some men don't really buy into this buffing up idea, the idea of buffing up, looking tush, and but you as a woman, if you love these things, there are ways you can go about it. But don't you ever compare your man, your husband, with any other man out there. All right, anyway guys, let's leave it at this. This is how I call it a day today, until I come your way again with another interesting topic. I want you to always know that I am here for you. I am here for you. Your relationship and marriage is what I look out for. The joy and the happiness you experience, the peace you experience, the fulfillment you feel in your relationship, in your marriage, is what I crave for, is what I'm interested in. So that is why I'm doing this. If you feel you need to talk to me one-on-one personally, you feel there's anything you want to share with me, or any topic you want me to treat, any idea or any topic you want me to treat, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. Suggest it to me and I will treat it, okay? So, all right, guys, until I come your way again with another interesting topic, I remain Onwadia, your love doctor. For now, I say bye-bye.